bien, c'est parti, on peut y aller.
All right. Can we start again?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for following us. Thank you for your support, and thank you for using the Bridge wallet and the Bridge protocol. So this is a community update. I guess the idea is to have it as much as possible interactive. So we'll try to be brief, to present a brief summary of 2020, tease a little bit of 2021, and don't hesitate to ask questions, and we will take it very interactive. So 2020 was a challenging year, yet very interesting because we were able to develop and increase the scope of the Bridge protocol, which we are very proud now, having some quite interesting customers using it. The Bridge wallet has started this year. It was started in beta test first, and we would like to thank, obviously, all the participants who helped us to build this tool and to have give us feedback and help us improve. There is a lot of small updates that comes on a monthly basis. A lot of work has been done on the user interface and user experience, which we are going to improve a lot more. This Bridge wallet, we believe, is quite interesting because it's not only a non-custodial wallet, but it's also a way to ramp up and ramp down from crypto in a seamless way, in an easy. And the idea is to also allow automated standing orders to allow people to do DCA in a very simple way, so that they just have a monthly wire to the same IBAN with the same reference on a monthly basis, and it would credit automatically the counter amount in crypto in real time. So this is the first step that we believe is very interesting. Obviously, the Bridge wallet was made also for security tokens and the way to interact with users, with owners of incorporated shares, bonds, etc., so that they can have the proper documentation linked to the token. They can participate to the general meeting, which was also a very interesting thing that we did back in June, was to conduct the annual general meeting of the company directly from this wallet, meaning that all shareholders of Pelerin, if they own at least one share, one MPS token, they would have access to this room, this virtual room, and they were able to vote as shareholders directly proportionally to the amount of shares they own. And this was a world first, and it was a very interesting thing to put forward, because right now, with the ecosystem that we have created on the issuance side, it allows pretty much any company to incorporate its shares into tokens and to manage its capital digitally, and to really have a cockpit for any issuer to manage during its full life cycle the corporate actions of the company, the future capital increase, the payment of dividends, the organization of those general assembly, etc., etc. Now, we went a step further. At least our idea is always to prove and test things on Pelerin first. I mean, not to take our customers as guinea pig. So we actually did something quite interesting, which is to bring a NISIN number to the shares. And so what is an NISIN number? It's an international security identification number, which allows the shares of Pelerin to be booked not only in the form of tokens, but also traditionally in any securities accounts that you might have from your traditional legacy bank. And that is actually something quite interesting, because if you think of it, some institutions, some family offices that might want to become shareholders, they are not necessarily, first of all, equipped to hold tokens, But secondly, for them, it's easier if they can book it in their securities account at their bank in terms of accounting and the way to treat it. It makes their life a lot easier, and at least they can keep it in their asset under management, which is a good way to sell such shares to those institutions. So this is right now obviously one of the topic, which is to make a proper fundraising from institutional investors. This is what we're working on for 2021. I'm going to tease a little bit 2021, but I don't want to give too much information. But we have a big partnership coming up with a very important name in the industry, in the DeFi industry. The next step is to bring Uniswap V2 into the wallet. Currently, it's still the V1, which obviously is creating some kind of misunderstanding from some of the customers. V2 is coming anytime soon. There are a few new functions and functionalities in the bridge protocol that was improved. So bridge protocol is already very interesting for multiple issuer. This is where we believe we have the most competitive advantage to any other protocol for tokenization, which is the way to consolidate within a unified realm all the token issuance that a single issuer might want to do, and to actually manage, first of all, the whitelisting, the rules, potentially some restrictions they want to put, etc., within a single realm, in order to make sure that even if a customer owns tens of their tokens, they don't have to whitelist them 10 times. They don't, if there is threshold to be set per tokens, it means that you can aggregate this threshold over the entire holdings of customers, etc., etc. We believe this is the best way to incorporate rules into tokens, meaning that you can have any type of assets, any type of securities to be incorporated into tokens, and yet remaining fully compliant with the existing compliance and regulatory frameworks. And this is quite crucial because this is what we keep on educating and working also with regulators in order to explain that token is a very different animal than crypto. Token is indeed, I mean, crypto exists because it exists. It's like Bitcoin and it's like a new asset class. But when it comes to tokens, it's slightly different, and especially security tokens, because there is a well-defined issuer that has to respect the same rule as any other issuer. And that means that with the bridge protocol right now, you can really have a programmable technological vehicle, and that's it. And in terms of a regulation, it means that it doesn't change anything. So it means the underlying remain the same, but you can prove that technologically speaking, you respect the same criteria, the same framework that every other institution has to respect. So we will maybe talk a bit later about the future functionalities that we also developed together with a client for its own need, that we believe now is making it the de facto go-to platform for tokenization, especially because it's open source, it's free for anyone to use. If they need our help, obviously we're here to help. Jan maybe will not want me to spoil that, but we're going to have some way to make the MPS price a little bit more dynamic. Today, as you may know, we as a company do not intervene on the secondary market. We're not. We were very precautious onto not being the one animating the secondary market. Everything was done by the community itself, which, by the way, we would like to thank you a lot for that. I mean, including creating pairs on Fork Delta, or creating MPS versus Ether, or MPS versus USDC on Uniswap. We would like to thank you for that. This is great. Obviously, it creates some pressure on the price, and now we are actually going to roll out some new features for the shareholders that we believe is going to be quite interesting for the future of the MPS pricing, without us as a company intervening on the secondary market. We will maybe discuss slightly something that is on the table for quite some time, which obviously is our goal to put in this wallet, is to bring and bridge, as its name implied, the two worlds, the worlds of IBAN and the world of addresses. So we really want to get into the next step of having into the wallet dedicated IBANs per user that would allow you to credit tokenized euro and tokenized Swiss franc to be able to trade in a purely decentralized way on the Uniswap or any other DEX, including the one that we have put into the wallet that today is still pending to be validated by FINMA. So we're still waiting for that, but at least for the crypto side, this will be working. And we will put IBANs in front of addresses so that we can really bridge the two worlds. And when you will make payments, you will independently put either an IBAN or an address, and the payment will be either on the blockchain in the form of tokens or in the form of a traditional legacy wire, so that you redeem this token, and deliver the money to the correspondent bank to pay your beneficiary. So that's really the idea of bridging these two worlds with the stablecoin in Swiss franc and euro. I'm not going to spoil too much about it, but we're working on it. We're a small team, so obviously we cannot do everything at once, but this is the next step in the roadmap. We are also getting forward onto the licensing. Licensing is obviously a little bit tricky in Switzerland when it comes to first crypto and secondly having international customers. For the regulators, it's obviously a very tricky part when you bring international crowd and crypto being regulated in Switzerland. So sometimes FINMA would like you to start first with only Swiss residents, which is not what we want. And so we are working, and it's going forward, we believe, quite well. Keep posted for that. And I believe that for now, that's pretty much it. We have some big milestones at the end of January. If we cross that, then we will make announcements. I think it's nice now if we can start with questions if you have any, or if there is any topic that people would like to discuss or to be developed.
Yeah, so I will just add that feel free to ask any question here on the YouTube chat or on the Telegram group. I mean, this community chat was you asking for it, so we can have a talk, and so that you can ask a question to Arnaud, to Sébastien, or myself. So here we are. So we are here for you. So let us know. I think there is a slight delay between us talking and what you see on the live streaming. So please take this into account. So the floor is yours. So here's the first question. I put it on the screen. Can you see it, Arnaud, from Case?
Yeah, no, we cannot. No, I mean, it's. I mean, we have several customers today, and some of them are quite interesting, and one of them is indeed a partner that is not only a client. It's more than a client. It's a partner that is helping us to develop a better bridge protocol, to develop the interfaces that works and that makes life easier in terms of operations. And again, especially in light for the multiple issuance, so like if you have a company that issue tokens on a regular basis, they want to make sure that they have a simple and easy cockpit to manage all those issuance and to manage the life cycle, to manage the whitelisting, etc., etc. So this partnership will be hopefully announced at the end of January, maybe even before that, and you will get to know it as soon as possible. Concerning the licensing aspect, it's always very hard to give timelines because it doesn't depend on us fully. It's also, it's when we started the first discussion with the regulators 3 years ago, we were very strict on what we want to do and what we do not want to do. And for example, in terms of tech, it was very important for us that we are able to run our own centralized technology that we like to call core-less banking system. And in order to prove that it works, we are going forward with the fintech license because, as its name implied, there is the tech in the fintech, which allows to test new tech models and to be able to prove to the regulator that indeed you can reduce the operational cost. It is working, it is reliable, and it can scale. So that's the process we are right now in order to document all that. The vision of becoming a full bank is still here, but obviously we do not want to take all the burden. We've learned a lot with the Signum and the SEBA, and we know quite well the founders of Signum, and we know that it comes with a heavy burden on the company in terms of operations, but also in terms of tech, because the regulator will want to take from the shelf core banking system that is kind of already obsolete, and then you can obviously build some tech on top of it. But this was not our view. And also in terms of customers you can onboard. If you think of it today, those banks, those crypto banks can onboard only high net worth individuals, institutionals, in general, accredited customers. Yeah, and our goal is to be retail focused, and we do not want to be limited to that, and especially because we see that as a very tricky business today. When it comes to other private banks using Signum and SEBA, it's always a fight between, is it my client, is it their client, etc. So it's always a bit hard in the institutional point of view to have a business that works properly. So our view now is really to go gradually. We have plans for having international setups. We cannot discuss it right now, it's too soon. We're in deep discussion with some potential partners to have sub companies and licensing in other countries, and to have bridges between Switzerland and some interesting countries. I mean, not going into the Pacific or any dodgy island that will grant you a very easy license, but that will close the door for any European or American bank.
Maybe you can just summarize in a nutshell the different stages of the license, just to remind people what is our approach. I know you just said some parts, but
yeah, so the fintech license is also called the banking license light. The idea is that with the fintech license, you're not allowed to do on-balance sheet credit, which is fine because that's not what we want to do. It allows the company to have direct access to the Swiss National Bank with a site account there, and to clear independently from any bank, Swiss franc and euro through the so-called SIC and Euro SIC. So the SIX interbank clearing platform and the Euro SIX interbank clearing platform, meaning that the company is able to generate its own IBAN and to be fully independent from banks. That comes with a burden in terms of operations, but it also comes with the independence of and the flexibility of not relying on the IT systems of banks. So this is really the idea, to go gradually towards the banking license and to get the burden of the full banking license when we will reach the limit of the fintech license. In the meantime, we're also in discussions with potential securities houses for partnership on the securities side. But again, this is a bit too soon, and as long as we do not sign the final deal, we will not communicate about it.
I will just skip to the last question to finish the discussion, because Case is answering. Then we can take the other questions.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is the big part. this is the big part, is to get the capital requirements that we have documented in our licensing application. The capital requirement is one thing, but you need also capital for the working capital to pay for the up cost of the company until profitability, etc. So because this licensing comes with also extra cost in terms of the company structure, it forces you to have for some specific streams to have specific profile, which are very costly in Switzerland, such as the chief risk officer, the chief financial officer, which today we tend to merge into different people. We believe we know exactly how to structure it. We have documented a proper and projected the balance sheets over the next 3 years. We know how to do it, but then when it comes with the licensing structure, they need to have different streams with the gray hair people that are here, even though they don't necessarily add a lot of value internally. It's required from the FINMA perspective. So that requires obviously funding.
Next question from Wilmer. I hope I pronounce your name right.
That I will probably let Jan. I don't want to spoil anything, so Jan, maybe you can take this one.
Okay. Well, again, as Arnaud said, we don't intervene directly, but we are taking actions that will have as a result, as an impact, hopefully a very positive impact on the price dynamic of the MPS token that we will see on its main decentralized trading places on Uniswap. So again, this is coming very soon. That's really one of our key priorities now. So definitely Q1 2021. I don't want to spoil too much, but this is going to be something very interesting and exciting. I hope that answers the question. So that answers also the next question, which I guess was asking about the same thing. So yeah, again, we know. I mean, what we have seen is also the result of the time it takes for us to build what we are building. Again, as Arnaud said, we are a small team, and it's hard to keep the rhythm that would be required for the dynamics that we see for tokens, which are extremely fast.
Yeah, and the point also I think that is important here is that as the MPS is indeed a security, it's a share of the company. It creates some kind of internal friction. Yeah, so sometimes we would like to go a little bit more wild as it is on the utility token side, and we would like to do things, but we need to be very cautious because we're not licensed in Vanuatu or in things like that. So we're really looking for licenses in the EU and in reputable countries in the EU, as well as Switzerland, as well as the US. And so this is for us a way to build bridges to prove to regulators that we are poppier than the Pope in this industry, that we are trustworthy, and this is very important. So that's why today we do not intervene on the secondary market. That's why we didn't even create those market pair. So we believe this is important that at this stage we act very diligently, and that whatever we do is triple validated by our lawyers, and that we make sure that it will not create any future potential issue. And that's also why today we have only 5% of the shares that are freely tradable. That's also to prove to FINMA that we know that there are thresholds where FINMA has a saying as to who can be a shareholder of a Swiss institution. Yeah? And this 5% threshold is crucial for the licensing application. So there are a lot of decisions that we took that might not seem very friendly for the crowd, but that we have to because we have a long-term vision. We're here to stay forever. We want to be future-proof, and we need to start from day one, not to do anything dodgy or anything crossing the line or anything like that. That's the point.
Next question from Alex. I guess you missed the first minutes of the call, but I will summarize again what you said in quickly. So really our key points for next year is to boost really the awareness and visibility of the Bridge protocol through a big partnership that we are going to announce next month. Bridge protocol is a great tool with a lot of power, but it's still quite unpolished. It needs documentation, it needs tutorials, it needs help to facilitate how to use it. So this is something that we're going to do next year to help it grow. We're gonna integrate Uniswap v2 in Bridge Wallet so that you will be able to use that platform without leaving the app, and of course access the MPS token pools that are on v2 directly from the wallet. As I just said, also like marketing actions that we're going to take to boost the MPS price value is also one of our key priority for next year. And Arnaud just explained in detail, of course, progressing on the licensing and in the investment that goes with it.
Yeah, I just would like to add something that I believe is also maybe not always straightforward, which is the fact that to take deposits from the public in Switzerland requires to have a banking license or at least a fintech license. And when it comes to crypto, the way that works perfectly is obviously the non-custodial, but we would like to go forward in the offering in the Bridge wallet. Yeah? So today in the Bridge wallet, you have an easy ramp up, ramp down that is where you don't have to first deposit and then log in and then trade, and then after the order gets filled, then you can withdraw to your own wallet. The idea was really to have something simple. You make a wire, we credit the wallet, that's it. And on the opposite side, you can sell any crypto and receive the proceeds in 20 plus currencies across the world, together with the experience that we have in money transfer. So that is actually working well. But now in the future, next year, we want to also have to offer the possibility for customers to actually book in real time their quote by crediting it first. But of course, this comes with slight challenge in terms of licensing or in terms of regulation, which works with the current status that we have as a financial intermediary, fully audited in terms of AML. But the idea would be for you to have, you can make a deposit and you can have up to 60 days to book the real-time price in the future. The trading functionality will come at some point, but it requires to specific tricks to be able to take the deposit for that purpose. We can maybe discuss that off, but this is a bit not secret, but an internal source. Today there are, I think the main way today is Uniswap v2 via the USDC MPS pair. And I guess again, we can post maybe the link there,
yeah,
or on the website. If you type on Google Pelerin, you will find on the webpage there is a direct link to Fork Delta and Uniswap. And I guess Fork Delta is not that much used anymore.
Yeah, I will just post the link in the chat in a second for you, Pat. Next question.
No, there is not that many relationship. I mean, we know at least in Geneva, we have a very good reputation. We've been working with banks for years. We've been spending quite some time to educate them on those topics. We have the reputation to be popular than the Pope in terms of how well we manage the compliance side and all the audits that we had from our banking partners, etc. Saxo was and is still a friend. We've been sitting in their office for more than 2 years. They've welcomed us for more than 2 years in Geneva, in their office in Geneva. We just left Saxo during the COVID time. Saxo is now moving to Zurich, with its headquarters in Zurich, with Geneva being only a rep office. And therefore, our team was bigger than their team in Geneva. So we needed to move somewhere. And right now, with the COVID situation, we didn't want to sign any expensive lease for 5 years. We wanted to wait until the commercial real estate market crashes a little bit for us to actually get a better deal. So right now we have a temporary office still in the Geneva city center that allows us to be flexible and not having to sign a 5 years deal. So this was the relationship with Saxo. And Ducascopy, this is the same, they're friends. We have a lot of discussions about working together. We've never achieved something very precise up until now, but we are obviously still in discussion. I guess today we are 8 in total. Maybe Jan, you can confirm. I think we are 8, including the interns. So we are rather a small team. So we have to be very active. We work a lot, and we all have different hats. It's not like you can say, "Oh, I was hired only to do that, and I will do only that." So everybody has to do a bit of everything. The idea is, again, to be very conservative on the spending. We're not here to pay us massive salary until we've reached the profitability and it makes sense for the company. So the idea is really to grow the company with the revenue or with next funding. But right now we want to keep it as safe as possible.
Okay, Stefan, can you maybe precise in the chat what do you mean by what is your business tech breakdown? And in the meantime, you can take the next question.
Again, I have no crystal ball. We do our best. We work a lot. We never take holidays. With the size of the team we are, we believe that what we are achieving is quite impressive. Now, obviously, our goal is to scale massively. There are a few steps for that and few ways for that. We are in deep discussions with partnership in different parts of the world. We are in discussions with potential investors. We even have signed some stuff that haven't realized and materialized yet. In order for us to be able to broadcast such news, we need to make sure that it's happening. So I don't want to say anything that might not be closing really. Yeah, plenty. There are plenty of competitors. We are a weird animal because we do not. We have a long-term ambition, and we're building tools to support that vision. And along the way, those tools have proven to be quite interesting for different type of customers. There are products that actually, and because we are developing everything in a modular way, we have. It's easy for us to serve different type of customers. So just to give you an example, we have now a product that is very interesting, which is the digital onboarding for Switzerland. This is something that we created originally for us, how to have a process in order to have a digital onboarding that includes video calls when required, with all the rule engine, the centralized rule engine for compliance that makes sure that we can reduce the operational cost of onboarding a client, etc. We did that for our own purpose because originally it was not our goal to develop it ourselves. So we went to check on the market, ID now, and all those things. But in Switzerland, what works is Swisscom, the national telco operator, and Intrum Justitia. And we were confronted with the lack of flexibility of such providers, and on top of it, the cost they were asking, like the 35K down in order to start, and then this price per KYC, this and that. And then we were challenging that for us, it would be a lot cheaper to recreate our own tool and to develop our operations in Geneva, which is what we did. Now we have 3 ladies in the operations here that are doing all the job in a very efficient way, and that today is something that we are sharing. So we have a shared back office with some other projects. There is a project in Zurich that will be announced also next year that is now outsourcing all their back office functionalities to us. So we have developed the tools for our own purpose, which are now being used by clients on the B2B aspect. Yeah? So this is something that was developed because it was an opportunity, not necessarily because it was our first intention originally. So in terms of new competitors, that's always, it's a bit hard, because when we speak about brokerage of crypto, there are plenty of crypto brokerage. Now, what we see is that all of them, or most of them, they use the same payment service providers on the back. For example, Currency Cloud in the UK. So people are doing their wire to GBI bands and etc. So Currency Cloud is a nice provider. The problem is also the pricing, because they come with a high pricing in terms of fixed monthly price, plus the percentage they take on each outgoing transaction, incoming and outgoing transaction, which makes the company less profitable. So what we have managed to do here in Switzerland is to strike local deals with local banks in order to have better economics on the ramp up and ramp down of crypto. This is so competitors exist, and there will be more in the future. But the industry in general is growing. There is room for everyone, and we have a lot of room to grow in the crypto brokerage side. And this is one of the key point for Q1 next year, is to really grow the awareness of our ramp up and ramp down service, in order to serve not only the retail clients, but also B2B, to have a modular way for other wallets to integrate our solution, and in order to get the flow through us. Yes, yes. There are. So today we don't want to. Again, we're a small team. We cannot spread our force in 10 countries in the world. So that's not possible. So we'd like to focus on things that really make sense for our ambition. We are now in discussions with local investor in one specific country to develop Pelerin there, potentially as a daughter company, and this is the way for us forward. There is no other way. Otherwise, we will spread forces instead of focusing. FC working on clients. Working on app development. So the app development today is mostly Sebastian that you see here. Sebastian is the mastermind behind the whole technology that we have developed. When it comes from the app to the full bridge protocol, the interfaces and everything. So we do not externalize anything in terms of tech. Everything is done in-house. Time to time, we hire a few developers for specific missions for a few months, 6 months, 3 months, maybe more. Today, there is an intern working with Sebastian as well, but that's only done internally with very few resources. And on the other side, we have people on the clients acquisition, clients discussions, education, and we have people on the operational side.
I guess that's more a question for me. Again, we are a small team with limited resources so far, so all our plans to raise awareness for everything we do is based on organic ways to try to build it up. So in order to be able to do so, of course, we need to have something to raise awareness on. So that's why we keep building. all the things that we mentioned before, and they would be really the battle horse, if I can say, to go spread awareness in Switzerland, and of course all our neighboring countries are a key focus for awareness in France, Germany, and Italy. I take the opportunity to see this question to ask, because this past day we were discussing internally about the idea of having a referral program in Bridge Wallet. We know that most of successful apps also rely on successful referral programs to incentivize users, to invite their networks, their friends and contacts, etc. And we wanted to ask you simply, would you like to see one first? I guess the answer is yes. And the second question would be, would you have any idea? Would you like to see anything particular, any type of referral program that would make sense for you as a user to go, spread Bridge Wallet's awareness beyond and invite your friends or your family who are interested to start with Bitcoin, etc. So I leave that question in the air. You can answer at any time on our Telegram group. Don't hesitate to share ideas, but know that this is also something that we are discussing and thinking about internally. Next question from Wilmer again.
Yeah, that's the goal. So obviously, funding round. So the promise that we made back then was that during the second funding round that is coming now, that we're working on, the crowd will not be diluted. So there is no dilution for anyone, which we believe is very important, and we're working on it. To be honest, this is a hard job to raise money. We're not experienced in that. We do not necessarily know the right person at the right VC firm, etc. And we live in Switzerland, where most of the potential investors are extremely risk averse, and they rather take a 0% yield on a real estate in Geneva than any other type of investment. So in Switzerland, there is some money for seed. There is some money for the private equity at later stage, but in the middle, it's almost empty, and that's why most companies, they go abroad, or they raise their money abroad, which is one area that we're exploring right now. So yes, this is totally making sense, and this is the discussions that we have currently with potential investors. Again, we do not communicate on anything that hasn't materialized yet. Yes, but I would not disclose any numbers here, because this is a public event. All our shareholders, meaning you just need to buy one MPS, can have access to all the financials of the company that we publish on a yearly basis. So, I mean, if you already own one MPS, then you have access to you will have access to the next general meeting, and therefore all the documentation that comes with all the financials. I'm not sure I understand the question.
I would say yes, the possibilities are endless, and I think that's precisely why the MPS lost a bit of steam, and that is also why we are focusing back on really key projects and developments right now, so that it gets back on track with new steam, if I can say.
And there is a very important thing, is that I mean, this is not from me. I mean, this was said by the founder of Amazon. And the company is not the stock, and the stock is not the company. So, I mean, keep faith. We're here for the long term, and obviously, we're more than anyone involved in that. With all the entire team has made a lot of sacrifice, because we all believe in the same goal. We're all going forward toward it, and obviously, you as an investor, you might be concerned about the current MPS price, but if you look at today volume, or even the potential volume that exists today on Uniswap, it's very small. So the entire price is today driven by this Uniswap mechanism that calculates the price automatically, and with very low liquidity, it can make the price move from both sides extremely fast with very small volumes, and that's actually the main issue that we see. And because we do not allow ourselves to intervene on the secondary market, that's the current result. But you're right, we need to make sure that every investor is happy along the way, and that's why Jan has worked on some economics around the MPS that will be revealed in the course of January.
That's not a question, but I just saw his reply. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very good question. There are plenty. As a startup, risks are at every single corner. There is one risk that we are trying also to reduce, is to back in 2019 we had too much opportunity, and the problem is that somehow it make you not focusing on simple things, but you say yes to every potential great name that comes to you that wants to partner, and then you do a lot of proof of concept, whether it is with one of the big fund administrator in the world, or whether it's a big bank, and we had spent a lot of time into those proof of concept that, obviously, because it's run by institutions, never go live. And the whole idea of what they do is to be fast follower, never to be leaders, and therefore it's very frustrating for startup like us that we have even signed deals where we cannot communicate about their names and what we have done for them, etc. So it's very frustrating. So right now we really want to focus on really executing the vision and trying to get rid of the noise. So obviously that's some of the risk. The other risk is banking partners. It's the regulation. It's having, let's say, a bad operation. Maybe a client that for some reason went through all the filters that we have in terms of compliance, and that would create issue for the company. There is a lot of risk, but again, we believe that on all those aspects, we are taking the right action. We are copier than the Pope, and we really are running this in a way to mitigate all the risk and to make sure that we are here forever. So in terms of banking partner, we are working with several. So this is hard to quantify, to be honest, as a startup risk or at every corner.
I think that answers also this remark, is that because we are extra cautious on compliance, of course, it sometimes slows us down in what we do, and also all the refocus that Arnaud explained also is an indication of increased speed for next year, definitely.
Yeah, because I mean, again, you can go a little bit more pirate, as some company or have chosen, and I believe this is a very valid path as well. Some companies have decided not to be necessarily incorporated in a single place in the world, and not to have to report to any authority, and they are playing the cat and mouse with the different regulators, and some of having taken the option to buy very cheap license from this because they do not touch fiat, and then they go with DeFi with some products that would be regulated. Even if it's called DeFi, most of those protocols have central components. There is an operator on the back that has a discretionary ways to change the code or to do different things, right? And at the end of the day, we have chosen the path to be in Switzerland, to prove our expertise in Switzerland to work with banks and institutions. It's a slow process. We know it can be frustrating. We are in the front line, and it's also frustrating us. Again, be rest assured that all the team is very aligned with your interest. I mean, obviously, we are in it for the long term, and we all still believe 200% that this thing will be the next unicorn. So the debit card thing is something we've been exploring since years. We know very well the complexity of this industry. We truly believe that this card industry needs to be fully disrupted, because what we see right now is that if you take the loop from A to B when there is a payment, there are a lot of actors eating up a chunk of each of the fees of the transaction. At the end of the day, offering cards with like crypto.com, with the 8% cashback, etc. This is not sustainable. That doesn't work economically speaking. So we need to come up with something that works economically speaking, because we didn't raise 50 million in an ICO and that we are willing to distribute in the form of client acquisition. So we need to find a way that the debit card doesn't cost us too much, because this is not a product where you can make money on it. Yeah, it's almost impossible to really live out of the debit card interchange fees. And there are interchange fees, yes, but those interchange fees are also cut by the fact that there are fixed fees every time a customer swipe his card and he buys, I don't know, a chewing gum pack, like a €2 chewing gum pack. And then you as an issuer pay maybe 10 cents or 8 cents or 7 cents for each transaction. Even if you have some money back from the interchange, the fixed cost of each and every transaction is higher, and therefore you keep on losing money every time people are using the card for small transactions. So that means that the debit card has to be seen as a loss leader offer. It has to be a package that people comes for it, and then where you have potential upsell in order to make money back onto what the every card user is costing the company. And this is a very timeline, especially for a company like us that does not have the 50 million funding like others, where we cannot do that just to try and test and see if it works. We cannot put aside 400, 500K just to see if it makes sense, or just to learn, or to see the economics. So we have to be very careful. So right now we are in contact with around 8 different card issuers. We're comparing the offers, we are challenging those offers, we're negotiating those offers, we're trying to make sure that we find relevant partners not to get screwed at the end, and this is something that we want that to come. The debit card is also something that it's nice because it makes the brand physical. But at the end of the day, me, and I guess a lot of people like you, have already plenty of cards in their pockets, yeah. And having yet another card, we're still wondering, does it really make sense? Yeah, I mean, if we can offer a service, and this is something we're working on for the beginning of next year, that you can credit any existing card you have, whether it's a UBS card or whether it's a Revolut card, but at least when you want to cash out your crypto, instantly it will credit any card you might have, the Revolut, the UBS, the BNP Paribas, whatever card you have, instead of having yet another card. We believe that can be a very interesting offer. So we're going to go down the 2 routes. The debit cards, we understand, and we heard from you that it's an important feature and that you want that coming, and it will come. However, it's all a matter of making sure that we do not put the balance sheet of the company at risk with a deal or another.
I will take that one, as I think, Alex. So you're talking about buying and selling in crypto, and that's, you're absolutely right. For people who are in that space, it's important, and we are taking this into account for the plans that we have for this year. it is not true for newcomers to crypto, for whom the context is a bit different, for whom the whole user experience is more important, because simply they don't have the knowledge necessary on the fees. So there is really two axes to drive user growth on this. Is the fees are important, yes, for people who compare. For the others, it's really about the convenience, which we already offer through the IBANs to purchase crypto, the cash outs, or the many currencies in which we allow you to cash out. The fact that you can buy crypto directly on any of your wallet addresses. I mean, as far as I know, there is pretty much no other wallet that allows you to do that. So that's a big convenience factor, and that's it. Next question from Pat again.
Yeah. So as we see, the main aspect is always about compliance, and for the Swiss regulator is also to be sure that they will not piss off other countries. So when you look at the fintech license, for example, today, it has been coming with a lot of restrictions, such as being able to onboard only Swiss residents, and this is not at all in our vision. Yeah, so we want to be international from day one, but we also have to respect the cross-border rules, meaning that we can onboard digitally customers from pretty much everywhere in the world, potentially including the US that we refuse today because that's the limitation we have with our banking partners. But then from the FINMA perspective, it's hard for them to be sure that you as a company will not go completely nuts and will try to make partnership in the press in England, in France, or in Germany, and then having the risk of having those countries to give the hammer to FINMA because they didn't do their job properly, and they have a wild startup doing finance in the old let's call it wild west way, etc. Yeah? So Switzerland has already suffered a lot from the loss of the Swiss banking secrecy for non-residents. They are really fearing that things that happened in the past with the big banks, like with the UBS and the private banks, getting customers in Paris, in Berlin, in Rome, in the US, and which was obviously prohibited because a customer can come and open an account to Switzerland, but the banker cannot go to a foreign country to make him sign the deal. So there are cross-border rules that needs to be respected, and there is a fine line. I mean, obviously, online when you communicate broadly without specifically naming a country or without buying an ad in Le Monde.fr or anything like that, then it's fine. But for the regulator, it's always hard when they face a new company, a startup, when they face young teams, to believe that they will act in this very diligent manner. Yeah, so that's why we have to prove to be popular than the Pope on those aspects, to be allowed to do such businesses. Otherwise, it comes with super tight restrictions, which is almost killing the purpose of getting licensed in the first place. So this is the main aspect. If you think of bank, for example, today, Seba and Signum, they wanted to go extremely fast on the regulation, and it's fine, it's perfect, but it came with a price, and the price was that they had a monthly audit at the beginning, which is monopolizing a lot of resources internally. They had to hire specific streams people that cost a lot. They had to use existing IT core banking systems such as Avaloq, Temenos, Finova, Finstar. Yeah, so those things that are already obsolete, they had to restrict the type of clients they could onboard to accredited investors and institutions. They had to, etc., etc. So at the end of the day, the goal is not to be licensed. The goal is to be a profitable company that grows to as a unicorn. They already did. I mean, in Switzerland, they created, besides the banking authorization department, they created a so-called fintech department. So they already did. And in Switzerland, the regulator is taking it very proactively. The education is very fast. They want things to happen because, again, in Switzerland, they understand that things are changing very rapidly. They need to rethink the financial place of Switzerland, and they want that to happen here. So, of course, they are very proactive. So we are very happy to be here. But as every regulator, even if they have will, they need to be cautious, and they have a pace that is not necessarily the one that usual startups have.
And here we are. Soon.
Again, I do not have a crystal ball. We do not make financial promises, never ever. First of all, because it's forbidden, and every company that has done it in the past, it's something that might be used against them by any regulator in the future. So there are two, again, I mean, every way is valid. Some companies, even if they are called Swiss or whatever, they are actually really operating from outside. But all those companies have zero chance to come back to Switzerland in the future. When FINMA has always a consolidated view about your activities and the past activities and where your branches are, etc. So it's not silo like that. Yeah. So we cannot make that kind of promises. We know that people like to be told next year it will be 10x, but we cannot say that.
And here we are. We've reached the end of the questions. So exactly 1 hour. Thank you very much, all of you, for your excellent questions. I hope that we answer them to your satisfaction. And as usual, you are always welcome to keep asking any question on our Telegram channel or our other channels. So thank you very much for joining this first edition.
Thank you.
We will definitely make more in the future. At which rhythm, we don't know yet, but that's, I think, a good habit that we will take. And that's it. We wish you excellent New Year celebrations, and stay tuned for next year for all the things that we have just teased. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jan, for the organization.